Hello, grade six. So, we are about to start a new fun unit called Little Miss and Mr. Men. So, some of you may have come across these characters before in cartoons or books. So, if you have, then you'll be familiar with what they look like and how they represent different characteristics, um, different personality traits. Okay, so what you are going to be doing in this little unit is designing your own character, your own Mr. Man or Little Miss. Okay, let me take you through this PowerPoint and pick out some of the things that you will be doing. So, a good starting point, because you are going to make a character that in some way represents you or something about you. So, think about your personality. So, personality traits, we all have different personality traits. Nobody has only one personality trait. So, you probably want to do some brainstorming as a starting point. Think about who are you? I'm just reading through these bullets here. What are your redeeming features? So, your positive aspects, if you like. What would people say if you asked them what your personality was like? So you could do that as well. You could ask other people to give you ideas, give you adjectives. Create a mind map about yourself that shows your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, and your personality. So it doesn't need to only be about personality. It can also be about the things that you are interested in, your passions, and so on. So you may wish to use the table on the next slide to help you describe yourself. Okay, so what we have down here is an example mind map. This is just to get ideas flowing. Let's look at the table next. Okay, so here are some adjectives that you could consider. This is by no means an exhaustive list. There are many, many other things that you could use to describe yourself. So some examples here: imaginative, quiet, considerate, frugal, sporty, outgoing, and so on. Okay, so this is in some ways the easy part, coming up with a list of adjectives to describe yourself. The difficult part is figuring out how you can represent that in a character. Okay, so how to draw personality. Okay, so what we should consider when looking at a personality: if someone has a bright personality, if someone's very positive, outgoing, happy, then you might want to use big bold colours, large smiley features, and so on. If someone is sporty, you might want to consider putting some props into the drawing. So baseball cap, football, running gear, cricket bat, tennis racket, the things that you might use when you're playing your favourite sport. If someone's outgoing, consider what would make them stand out: loud colours, edgy style, and so on. So what you see here in this square are a bunch of Mr. Men and Little Miss, which represent different characteristics. So Mr. Daydream looks kind of like a cloud. Mr. Strong is a square, very solid shape. Mr. Bump has all these bandages around him from injuring himself. So you can see how the appearance of these characters kind of represents their character or their personality. Okay, so here are some more personality traits for you to consider how you would draw them. You know, I really do recommend that you do some research into Mr. Men and Little Miss characters. You can just do a Google search. You'll come up with tons of examples. There are videos, as I say, which are about 5 minutes long to 7 minutes long, and also reading books that you'll see in your library as well. So really good ideas, good way to get an example of what you're aiming for. Okay, so related to that, investigation. Okay, this is a bit messy. So investigate the following and create a poster manually or digitally displaying the following. Who are Little Miss and Mr. Men? Who created them? When was it created? Who inspired the designs? Or sorry, what inspired the designs? And share an interesting fact. So this is just to show your research. This is following the brainstorming about yourself. Just do a little bit of visual research into Mr. Men and who created them. Okay, so if you can do that, that will be awesome. You could do it using some sort of digital app or template like Canva, or you could do it using Google Slides, or you could do it by hand if you wanted to. It's up to you. Okay, and then once you've done those two stages, so once you've done your brainstorming about your characteristics, and you've done a little bit of research into Mr. Men and Little Miss, then you can start on your character design, okay? So this will probably be towards the end of next week when you start on your character design. Okay, so here are some constraints. Your character must have a personal connection, so something to do with you. It must not resemble any existing character, so it needs to be original, and it must be given an appropriate name, something that represents an aspect of your character or your interests. You should create your character design on A4 or A5 size paper or card and display the character name at the bottom, like the examples below. I will show you another example as well, one that I did, which I think is better than these, but anyway. You could also, by the way, if you have access to Adobe Illustrator, you could do it on Adobe Illustrator. Okay, hold on, what's going on here? Okay. So if you've got any way of doing your drawing, your character, your final design digitally, that is going to definitely be open to you. And if we all end up making it back to school, then that will be open to everybody. I can show you real quick how to do this on Adobe Illustrator. So a starting point would be to do it on paper though, and then later, if you have access to some sort of digital software, then you could do it on there. Okay, here's some examples. Little Miss Design, holding a pencil and a hammer and a little light bulb, showing that she was really thinking hard about designing. Little Miss Sweet Tooth, okay, holding a cake, and she's actually formed in the shape of a tooth. That's pretty good. Okay, and here's some extra stuff. I mean, if you have extra time, you could make a comic strip, or you could work together on a comic strip. But this is really just extension activities, okay? Right, I'm going to just show you real quick my design, if I can find it. Okay, I called my design Mr. Trekker, because, there he is, because I like trekking, and when I made this, I'd just come back from a trek in the Himalaya. So I've just been going up some pretty big mountains in the Himalayas, and this character, it shows something about me. It shows my interest in trekking, and also you can see I hope you can see by the eyes and the eyebrows, determination. So determination is the personality trait I wanted to show, because in order to get up some of those mountains, which are really, really steep, you need to be very determined, okay, and persistent. So those are the two things I wanted to show about myself, my interest in trekking, and also my determination. Okay, so that is an overview of what you are going to be doing over the next 3 weeks. To recap, you're going to do some brainstorming about your own personality and your hobbies and interests. You're then going to do a little bit of research into the Mr. Men and Little Miss, and then you're going to start generating some initial ideas about how to represent some of the characteristics that you have identified. So don't launch into a final design initially. Try to come up with 2 or 3, and then we can go into a selection process about which is the best one, just like you do in your regular design units. Okay, everyone? Thanks very much. Bye.